What do we wanna do today, Yanko? I don't know because this is for no
Neither,
particular reason.
neither do I. I just kind of feel like calm today. Not even like going like, yeah, sometimes I feel dancey, but today I'm just kind of grounded in
Yeah, I'm
presence
pretty
and this.
grounded today too, actually. Although I am, yeah. What do we got? So, for anybody out there listening, going on? I am Kerri Lewis, the host, along with my co-host Yanko Yankov, and this is for no particular reason, where we talk about anything, everything, nothing, and all of the crazy things in life that show up in any given day, moment, and time space experience. So that's why we're here. This is episode 103, which is like
I was gonna say, who counts them anymore? It used to be like,
oh, the
oh,
fact
we're
that,
getting
like,
there.
we talk about nothing and everything for 103 Fridays is pretty impressive. Although I have, missed, I don't know, I'd say maybe 10, 20 Fridays, but that's okay because I'm still here showing up, showing in love, being joy filled and all that jazz. So,
I mean, most people know we go around the same teams, and sometimes we go out there, and sometimes we get guests and share their experience and knowledge or whatever with you guys. So yeah, good times, happy times.
well, first, for all my beautiful people out in the Middle East who are currently celebrating Eid, I know that I've gotten some amazing pictures from you all and all the joy of connection, breaking the fast. And so I trust that you all are enjoying your time with each other in love and connection and Sabbath, and I love you all. So shout out to all my peeps out there.
Yeah, shout out to you guys.
Yeah. Well, so it's interesting. Earlier today in my spiritual studies, scripture came up around Sabbath, as many people will start to practice, right? Easter is just around the corner. And
Mm,
really kind of talking about Lent, what we give up, and then taking a day each week to break from the cog, this crazy cycle of performing and doing and chasing more material or status or whatever. And I really appreciated that message because it's so easy to forget. It's so easy to get caught up in the going ons of everyday life and fall unconscious in the experience of just doing and performing. So I
right.
just appreciated that.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. You know, but this is why practice of observation or some kind of self observation or self knowledge comes in handy, because the more you do it, the more you catch yourself into, oh, morning bunny, nice to have you again with us.
We
The easier it gets.
love you, Bonnie. Sunrise, Bonnie. Bonnie has chickens.
I
Why I
love
felt
it.
to say that, I don't know. But
I know, that's why I stopped, because like if you're inspired to sing, go ahead.
well, interestingly enough, well, why don't you finish your thought and then I will share what just came to me.
I was just gonna say that it easier it gets to caught up because there's the observer in you that notice where you go intentions, and it's easier to not get too caught up in the doing or whatever it's happening. Then it becomes easier to kind of step back and enjoy of doing, but also seeing how everything unfolds.
Yeah.
Like you're doing the food, you're cooking it, but then the observer in you, it's also watching how the food is getting prepped and everything, and gets a joy from the whole process. Not only doing just for the sake of doing or whatever it's happening. So yeah.
Hi to Gianni6837, thanks for dropping in some energy. We appreciate you. So going back to that, right? I was reading, let me take off my glasses because here we go. Um, in the state of passion without a cause, there is intensity free from all attachment. So, okay, that sounds like mumbo jumbo to a lot of you guys, but I wrote, as you can see my note, because I write notes in my books. Some people don't think you should, but I don't care. You do something just because you were inspired to, not for a desired outcome or result. So that's the thing I think that I, when I'm not in that cog of trying to do for the sake of achieving money or the sake of achieving a desired outcome with an individual, then I'm inspired. And just like singing to Bonnie right now, there's no desired outcome, so there's no attachment to how it looks, and that to me is flow. That to me is surrender to the present moment and true authenticity. And that's really where I, you know, oftentimes fall unconscious to, but when I do, oh man, do I enjoy the shit out of life, cuz I'm just doing without this need to perform or create
Yeah,
something specific.
yeah. I
And
mean,
that's
that's
why I like,
also
real quick, that's why I like this idea of Eid or Ramadan or Lent or whatever it is that suits your fancy, but anything that gives you the ability to separate yourselves from the everyday work. Do this, do this, do this, to pause. Because when you pause, when you really practice breath work, when you sit with yourself, you start to recognize that you don't need to get caught up in that frantic energy that we all kind of forget about and then we just get sucked into.
getting into character, I call it.
Yes,
You get into the role of whatever you're playing, and sometimes you take it very seriously.
very seriously. Listen, I got into character this week being very serious about being a mom. And actually, I'm gonna keep it real. This week, lots of frantic energy around me, right? One of my daughters is performing tonight and tomorrow. Another one of my daughters is part of an immense amount of groups, also part of the production, also had a pinning for her CNA. And so just a lot of emotion, 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 and I did not take enough time to ground. And so I'm taking on all this emotion, all this emotion. All of a sudden, I totally exploded. And I just laughed. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I take time for me, because otherwise I react to what's going on around me rather than witness it. And in that stillness, in that ability to just hold space for my daughters, they don't feel like they have to perform. And so I said to my daughter yesterday when she was apologizing, I was like, you don't owe me an apology. Your job is to be you in front of me. And my job is to be able to witness you in all characters and
Mm,
all
yeah,
expressions
all
of energy
forms are
without
being, yeah.
taking it personally. And
Yeah.
and that's where I needed that reminder this week. So
Isn't that nice when that happens? It's kind of like a reminder because you get to a point where you're like, yeah, I think I'm okay. And then you're right back into it. And you're like, oh, I needed a reminder. Yes.
yep.
Yeah. No, but to your point, and I was gonna say, all paths lead to the same thing. Even in the Tao, doing without doing the Tao. The Wu Wei.
Well, it's so interesting. The work that I do with individuals, on top of just kind of holding space and witnessing them give themselves permission to do what feels right for them, like what they're called to do. It's also to teach them to be able to start to break away from this conditioned belief that they have to perform in order to achieve, they have to do in order to whatever. And that is so hard for people to give themselves permission to let go of control. It is just so incredibly hard for people to do that. Even the idea of stopping and doing 30 seconds of breath work in the middle of the day when their anxiety starts to kick in. Wow, is that is where I have to continuously be that reminder for them until they experience the results enough that it becomes something that they desire to experience.
Yeah, yeah. Some like I said, it's easier to fall on into old patterns and things, and because you've been that way, or many other people are experiencing the same thing, life through their own way of how they been acting or learn how to enjoy life. And once you get comfy, then nothing changes. You're kind of stuck in that position. So I love to challenge myself and get out of my comfort zone to change patterns and see other things that otherwise will be unseen.
Yep. I
Yeah.
think, my cousin Nifa, shout out to Nifa, who I would love to get on the show. I'm actually going to reach out to her after this show. Um, Mentioned in a live video this week, which really, I was like, yes. She's like, fear is familiar. Fear is very familiar. People are very comfortable operating from being driven by fear. Surrender and love is very unfamiliar because unconditional love is truly just witnessing the unfolding of experience without trying to control it or change it. And that can be very uncomfortable for people. So they don't allow themselves to let go. Or when they do, they're immediately like, well, this feels different. So I got to figure out some way to, take the reins. And then they go right back into being driven by fear.
Yeah. Um, what I was going to say is that usually the whole concept of even fear or love are just concepts that everyone has their own idea of what that's supposed to be. So even love, it's not what most people think. And most people just associate it with like a physical love or something like that. And it's how do I say that? And when you start chasing something that you might know what it is, then you're missing the point because that might not be it. That's what I was gonna add to what you were saying.
Would you care to elaborate?
Well, because like
Story or a
right,
concept
right,
that
right, right, right. Because getting out of your comfort zone and being in love and allowing things to happen, then we're on the duality of things, and we like to compare things to make sure we're on the right page or to check our clocks, like some people say. So if you want to change, you want to have something that you're comparing yourself that you're changing towards, or that gives you that, you know, difference. And so if you're changing and you're like, okay, I'm in fear, I think I know what fear is. And then I want to be more in love, not in fear. And then you start getting that idea. And when you go in and you're getting out of the fear state to something else, then you're seeing another idea that might not be it. It's just being in the end. Does that
oh, it's so
explain it?
funny. That is inherently what I work with people on is surrendering the idea that you have to think through anything. You really don't. Like, for me,
Yeah,
if I wanna know an answer to something, I'll ask the question and then I go play, or I'll go for a walk, or I'll go cook, or be present with my nephew, whatever. I don't try to figure out the answer. That's the joke. Like, we then
yeah,
drive ourselves into this
right.
cycle of this and that. It could be this
Mhm.
and that, and then you aren't even able to get the knowledge that it is you're looking for because you're determining the answer instead of
Right.
allowing it to come
Yes.
to you. And that's
Yes.
called inspired action, guys. That's called, like, that intuitive knowing. You just know what you know and you can't explain it. And you can access that at all times. It's just that we're so busy assuming that we have to,
Yeah.
come up with points and have
Yeah.
logical explanations that we lose sight of the very thing we want to know in the first place.
Yeah. Are you going into tangents or entertaining your mind? And we even had that, conversation before we started the show. Like anything that you do it to like entertain your mind
Yeah.
in your free time, because the mind doesn't like to be idle. It doesn't like to, be in the boring. It likes to do things, invent things, find things.
It's true. I literally just thought of the song. I don't remember what it's called, but it's "Free Your Mind, the Rest Will Follow." Da-na-na.
There you go.
Oh no! Okay,
Yeah.
wait a minute. I do not own the rights to that song.
Oh, we might get censored.
We might get censored. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
censor
yeah,
me, but I ain't going nowhere.
yeah.
Oh,
This is another idea of like owning something. I mean, I once you realize that you're part of the whole, there is just more of a recycling going on. Like there is no like owning property is just, for the sake of bureaucracy and this is me, this is you, more of a, but like, do you really own like the piece on the planet Earth, that the air, or none of that? Or like a song or somebody just sing some sounds and now you own it?
it's so funny. I love that you brought that up because I go for walks, like 2 to 5 mile walks around my area in Connecticut, and I always look at these signs that say "No trespassing." And I'm the dick who will put
Yeah.
my feet. I literally put my feet on the land, and I'm like, I just trespassed. I just trespassed. Literally just to act like a child and be like, ha ha, sucker, what you gonna do? You don't own nothing. I mean, you could call the cops, but what are they gonna do? I stuck my foot on your land. It's to me, it's just it's funny. I don't know. Again, it's all about control. Like it
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
And I was talking with this whole human experience is just that, it's an experience. But I was talking to Nana the other day because we were talking in terms of sales and his cars, and we were talking about the current war, and I'm like, it's all about control. It's all about
Yeah.
manipulation. It's all
Yeah.
about keeping people's attention on something external, which is fear
Yeah.
based, so
Yeah.
that they lose sight of what's internal, which is peace. And eventually, if enough people recognize that, then we break that cog. We break that. It's just a joke. I just like this, and most people don't realize it, and they just get sucked right into the vortex of it.
I mean, I'm guilty of that too. Sometimes old programs will come out and I'll talk to, somebody and we'll start going there. And, um, analytical mind will come in and say, oh, this makes sense because of like economics or whatever. And it's just like having a debate with somebody for no reason.
For no reason. And these
Yeah.
That's the thing. I laugh at myself. I was like, "Yep, there, yep, okay." That
Yeah.
that was literally just to whatever.
Yeah, but that gives you that right there gives your mind another idea to ponder around, another um challenge or sudoku or something to resolve, you know. It's like, oh, okay, if I go there, maybe I should prep for doomsday, maybe I should get me some food, maybe I should do this instead. Well, let me go ahead and look into it. Oh no, this other thing come out. Hmm, maybe I need to get one of those radiation meters in case of something happens now. Oh, look, they're on sale on Amazon. Let me call my friend. Maybe they need one of those, you know?
Well, again, it
And
all
it's
goes back
like,
to control. And I was just thinking about a Buddhist teaching which says, you know, surrender in part is being okay, not knowing, not needing to know anything. Just like because it is trying to figure it out that creates whatever. I'll sub. Do you even know what that means?
I'll subscribe. That's how I understand it.
Oh, well, listen, I'm with it, you know. But anyway, let's I'm going to do a total 180 on this
Oh,
conversation because I didn't get to tell you. Now I'm going to make it about me, but not really, kind of sort of. The parade. Oh my god. So Nana and I, if you don't know, we were in the St. Patrick's Day parade in Worcester, Massachusetts, and we had about 18 people show up in different costumes from Pikachu to Rumi from I don't know the
oh, wow.
yeah,
Rumi?
and I
Or
cannot
I'm thinking of
begin.
the other Rumi.
Oh no, that would be cool though. That's who I thought it was, but no.
Oh, okay.
I cannot begin to describe the joy that I felt watching not only kids who were freaking out about all these characters showing up on this parade in this parade, but the adults who were just allowing themselves to be childlike and like laughing and dapping up all these different people taking pictures. And I made a choice to just kind of play the character of Kerri, like wear my skulls, show up because I really wanted to represent how people would most likely see me when I'm on our show. But it was just, oh man, Yanko, if you could feel the energy of excitement and just like the true joy that people felt, it was priceless. There's no amount of money that could ever express just the energy of that day.
That's always present. We always have the joy, and we're just not using it. We're not allowing ourselves to, be in the joy. I mean, any other states that feel okay to be in, or something that it's familiar, maybe just, being idle or not doing anything. And it doesn't have to be triggered by anything. You can literally like allow yourself to be in that state of joy. And a good example, yesterday I was in the park with the little guy, and he wanted to play hide and seek with me. And he doesn't play, he plays some kind of version of hide and seek when he thinks he's invisible. So he shows up and says, I am that way. So I go like, okay, I'm gonna go and I pretend that I'm stupid, and I'm gonna go search for him on the other side or whatever. um, but this whole thing, it's so joyful because he's in joy, I'm in joy, we're having fun, so and that could happen anywhere. You could be in the street, and I'll give you another example. I can be in Sam's Club and just observing how people are shopping, in the whole process of like everyone have their mask, or some people it's serious, somebody else is on the phone, something else is going on. That is just joyful. You're sitting and you're watching the world going around you, and like things are happening, and you're in the joy of it. You get to be and enjoy the moment.
Well, I mean,
So
that speaks to presence and just being aware, you know, and I was waiting for my daughters to get out of rehearsal this weekend. I'm in a line of cars and I'm watching the parents get out of their car because there's all these little kids playing Oompa Loompas. So they're all little, elementary school kids.
Jumping around.
Yeah, and like just seeing them so excited to see their parents and just the excitement of their parent to see them. And I remember those days, as kids get older, or at least in my experience, what I've witnessed is there isn't as much of that expressed jubilation. Teenagers like,
Yes.
ew, mom, don't
Yeah.
hug me, don't kiss me, or whatever.
Yes.
But to see it in young kids where there isn't this fear of being judged for being excited to see their loved one, I get such a kick out of watching that stuff unfold. It feels so good to me.
Yeah. I mean, a- and again, anything can bring you joy. In this is why sometimes a nice sunset can bring you joy. The colors in the sky, and you're like grateful because you're in the moment. This is happening for you. Like all life happens for you, so you can be joyful.
Well, that's why I stand by my belief that joy is the greatest medicine to addiction and mental health issues. Joy, seeking joy, play, curiosity, being silly, laughter, because that is our inherent state. And so often there's this narrative that we have to figure out all problems, or we have to go to a therapist and lay on a couch and bring up the past. And I disagree. I think, what can you do in this present moment to get you back to being silly? Sometimes when I'm in my head, because I can overthink, guys, I'm not void of the overthinking mind. I'll literally just start shaking my head and dancing because it breaks up the story. And then I'm just like, and then I feel better. I immediately feel better. So I encourage people, try it. Give yourself permission to just be silly. Watch kids in the park play. Get on a swing and swing and see how that changes how you feel within your own body, within your own thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, finding your I can't remember what the word is, but like um, the way that you break out of your patterns or your loops or whatever. If find a way how to do it, and then every time you sense that you're in one of those states, then break it.
Yep.
Something to get you out of that, and that'll allow more things to happen.
100%. That's why I work with people on building a framework of tools, and the tools that work for me may not work for you, and I don't care about that. It's what is the thing that's going to get you out of your head and into now. Is it breath work? Is it going for a walk? Is it painting? Is it putting on music? Is it dancing? Is it calling a friend? Whatever, it doesn't matter. There's endless
Yeah,
possibilities. It's just giving yourself permission to actually take action and do it, because when you're really in that cycle of overthinking, you convince yourself that you have to somehow find a solution to the problem. You have to somehow heal the
yeah.
past by going through. No, you
Oh,
don't.
yeah,
You really don't.
yeah. That's another misconception. I'm glad you brought it up. That people, when they go in what they call the spiritual path, and there's no spiritual path. Everything is a path in my mind. But this guy, I see it. But and other people tell him, oh, you gotta heal your wounds, your childhood, whatever, and all these other things. No, all you got to do is give him attention and love. That's about it. Instead of, because you've been ignoring whatever was happening because you didn't want to deal with it. If you just give it attention, see it for what it is, and then it goes around, and you don't need to actually heal it. Like words are very misleading for a lot of reasons. You might even think that, okay, if it's a healing, um, and that brings, at least in my mind, hospitals and medicine and other things like that. But no.
Well, I mean, look at the FDA just approved sound healing for a modality of healing the body, and I'm really surprised we're going to start to see light being another modality, and we're light beings. So, but again, just suspend what you think you know. The greatest gift you can ever give yourself is just say, I suspend what I think I know. I'm open to all possibilities for the highest good of everybody. And the reason I say that is that then takes away the selfish I. So it's not, I'm open to all possibilities that work out best for me, because that's a separation. But if it's for everybody, well, maybe the solution doesn't look exactly like you wanted it to look. But if it works out for everybody, then wouldn't we all be contented anyway? I mean, I would say that we are, because if everybody feels good, then we're not going to have all of this discord that we continue to watch cyclically unfold in the world.
It's the Trinity, the knower, the known, and the knowledge. You know, so it's not about, in my mind, it's not about like understanding that. When you understand that everything it's one, you're just getting to know yourself through the other or through the mirror, then you understand.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
Yes.
And I don't own the rights to that music. I always think you're a dick.
Strike two again. You're on the
Really,
road today.
I know I am on it. But you know what? That speaks to being peaceful. Like, I'm just chilling. And so when I don't have an expected outcome and I don't care about the results, and and that's what people don't understand. Like, this is when I achieved, and I'm going to put that in quotes because that's so, what is it, subjective. But when I achieved great results in corporate America as a leader, you know what, I did it because I didn't have an expectation of. I was either like having fun with, I was like playing with my coworkers on the sales floor, or I was creating mannequins, or whatever it was. And then all of a sudden something would click and I would just know that was the thing to do. So it's like you're in this creative space because you're not going down the rabbit hole of trying to problem solve, which makes the problem feel that much more difficult.
Yeah.
So that's a gift we give ourselves. I think every great artist will attest, every great musician, every great actor, like the wisdom I gave my daughter today, who's playing Willy Wonka, is just to have fun. It's like, girl, don't take it seriously. Allow yourself to just whatever unfolds without this
Yeah.
expectation. And I have no doubt that if she does that, she'll be fine. She'll kill it, you know? But again, it's this belief that we have to problem solve that keeps us stuck in the problem in the first place.
I mean, again, it's language and then roles. And if you say play the role of supervisor, then certain things are expected from that role. And then if you don't fulfill that role, then you take it up on you and thinking that because the outcome wasn't what was expected, then something else that might be a failure. And that's the whole thing of like playing the roles, assuming responsibilities, and doing all these other things that keeps us in the state of self-harm almost, and harm to the other people too, because in your striving for success or whatever your mind thinks that is, then you might neglect the other in order for you to succeed
A
in
hundred
things
percent.
like that. So yeah, I mean, it's nice when you see it, and it's just part of the whole as a whole. like part of the experience, kind of like seeing a bird, you know. Like when I was walking yesterday, there was just kind of river. We were walking across the river, and there was just like a swampy area where the birds are going and they're picking up flies and other things. And it's kind of like that, you know. Is it bad that they're eating the flies and other things? They're just having fun, but you know, depends on the perspective and everything else. So when you're in this and you watch it, it's kind of like watching the birds. You watch the one person trying to, you know, be the manager and manage people and show them who's the boss and all those other things.
Well, I also, something that I continue to bring up, and we talk about this a lot, but it bears mentioning over and over until people really fundamentally understand it, is this idea of good or bad, right or wrong. So,
Yeah.
and I'll give you a true contextual example, right? One person could say, wow, it's terrible that your older sister died, right? That's a horrible thing that happened. And yet, who I am today is a result of her dying because it was the catalyst I needed to break old patterns of behavior in order to grow and expand my understanding of myself and the world. And so, is it good or bad? There's no right or wrong, there's no good or bad. It's just the experience. And that's what a lot of the great scripture talks about. The Tao Te Ching, definitely one.
Yeah, they have a good story about that stuff with the
Yeah.
guy with the horses and
The son who goes, yep,
yeah,
and the
yeah. Is
horse
it good? I don't know. Is it bad?
yeah, but we always I had somebody I was talking to recently who said, "Yeah, this weekend was bad." And I was like, "Well, was it though? Because if that weekend was a catalyst for you to take a different action, then
Yeah.
one could argue it's good." And so that's why I really work with people to suspend their judgment. That's it. Just suspend judgment. You don't know. Instead, be curious. And a lot of people challenge me, because there was a long period of my life that I struggled with addiction, a long period of my life where I made choices that some would judge as like horrible and all that. And like, well, how can you not judge yourself for that? Because if I judged myself, I could never have learned what precipitated that choice, right? So, for example, when I stole money from my parents, if I just judged myself, which I did for many years, by the way, guys, but when I stopped judging myself and came from like curiosity, well, what precipitated that? Well, I was young. I was like 10, 11. Nobody saw me in my house. I was very lonely. I was considered weird at school. And so I would take money and I would buy people at school stuff, candy and stuff, with this drive to get them to like me. And so it's not that you give yourself like this, oh, I get to do shitty things. It's once you stop judging yourself for it, you can learn the the underlying cause that created that effect. And once you do that, you break the effect and you can cease to have the cause and you just show up differently.
Yeah. And this is what some people describe as like learning your lesson. You know, once you learn your lesson, things change, and it's not like a lesson, it's more of the awareness, like when you're like, oh, okay, and then everything changes. Like the people change, they're not changing, you change, and as a result, as you're changing, then the mirror reflected the change. They didn't change magically overnight. They're the same.
Well, that's why I really, one of the things, I make myself accessible to the people that I get to hold space for a lot. And the reason why is as we start to change our internal narrative, your external narrative has to change. It just has to.
Mm,
You
yeah.
can't experience beliefs about yourself differently and then think that the world is going to reflect that back to you. It can't. So what happens is people shed old experiences. They shed people. They might shed family members. They might
Yes,
lose
causes,
friends.
jobs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lose a job, lose a significant other, all this stuff. And that can feel really, really hard for the conditioned mind that wants to control and feel safe.
Yes, because it's familiar.
It's
Yeah.
familiar, exactly, and so I try to be that bridge as they step into unfamiliar and shed that, saying, "Hey, keep doing the weird. Keep doing what you're called to do. Give yourself permission to like anime, to like sound healing, to put yourself out there on a video, whatever it is, because yes, you'll shed, but you have that anchor of love who's like, keep going. And then you attract more of what you're
And
becoming, what you're learning. And then I may be in your life or I may not. Sometimes people call me because we constantly go through that. I constantly shed people and then attract people and shed people. Sometimes it's for a moment, sometimes it's for an extended period of time. But whatever it is, it's I'm okay with that.
I mean, because you change reality, you're changing, you're never the same. That idea from the mind, it's like bringing your past in the present all the time because in every minute you're a different person. Not only like mentally, but actually physically because your cells are changing. You're getting old or whatever. You're not the same.
Ever.
Yeah. So it's nice to have somebody to remind you and push you, and sometimes you might even think that this is the wrong thing to do because if you're so used to your normal and then the new normal starts to become your normal and you're like in the middle, you're like, oh, too good, it's not going to be good, maybe something bad should happen and I should go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
even for me, I'm in a state of transition from an old experience into a new, and I find myself, "I don't know about this, it's a little suspect," and I keep having to come back to this is where I remind myself often, I suspend what I think I know, and I'm just gonna keep going the course and trust that when I look behind it, it will all unfold, which it will, the way it was.
It does, yeah, once you
But it's so
start being.
interesting. So, one of the things that I have noticed for myself is this attachment to Nana, right? Like, I I really strive to be unconditional love, but like this desire to hear from him every day, and but I noticed that, so I said to the universe, oh, whatever. Literally, T-Mobile has not put Nana's messages through my phone for 2 days, to the point where Nana's laughing. He's like, I gotta call T-Mobile, and I'm like, well, you really don't, because I'm just laughing because it's just me recognizing an attachment, and the universe providing me with evidence that says, yes, you're attached, but you don't have to be, just to
The universe,
like
yeah.
thing
Yeah, he has ways to joke with you, poke you back.
all the
It's like,
time.
oh, you asked for it. There you go.
Oh, and I keep finding myself want to control the narrative. Oh, well, I can reach out to him through Instagram or whatever. But it's just a habit. Like, it's as simple as that. Yes, I love Nana. I love him in my life, all that stuff. But I don't have to be habituated to having a certain experience with him, i.e., him texting me every morning or whatever. I can just allow it to be. And in that, in my experience, is a much more profound love, because I never know who I'm dating, because I don't assume I know who he's going to be in that moment. And we get to just be entangled in whatever weirdness we're in that
Yeah,
day.
yeah. That's wonderful, though. It's you
It's
really
it's
have.
it's
Yeah.
hilarious. I'll tell you that much.
The game of life, and like you were saying, sometimes when you recognize it, you kind of laugh at yourself because you're like, oh, I see where the irony of things is. Because like I did it, and everything, it's like you put it out there and it comes back to you and then you recognize, and it's like, oh, I just needed a reminder to know how powerful I am, like I can do this kind of stuff.
Yep. You know what's so funny in the so one of my daughter's lines, so Varuka in the play goes, "Is this a joke?" And Billy's character Wonka goes, "Isn't everything?" And I like every time I read it because I fucking know this play by this point because I've been every character except for Willy Wonka. But I'm like, it's such a like I can't think of a more true
Yes.
statement. It's like
Yeah.
so true. He's like, "Isn't everything?" And I'm like, right on, Wonka, right on, buddy. Of course, my 16-year-old daughter doesn't see life that way because she's very caught up in performing and achieving, which I understand, but I love it.
Yeah. The more I sit in allowance, not that, you know, things don't happen and I don't get entangled in different things. Sometimes you remind me of things and you go like, oh, but this is you expecting a thing. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Thanks for reminding me. I didn't suspend my expectation or having some kind of like the mind does what the mind does.
Yep, it's so true. Well, and I read a quote the other day. I want to say it was either a Sufi mystic or from Eastern, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, it said your job is to observe your thoughts. It's not to subscribe to them.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna tell
entangle.
you, people, I'm gonna keep it 100. That is still an area of growth for me because I constantly subscribe to them. I'm like, ah, and you know how I know? This is a great tip for anybody to know. If you feel contracted, if your muscles get tight, if you
Yeah.
feel
Body
dis
reacts. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
you know you've just kind of fallen into the like getting caught up in your thinking, and don't judge yourself, just be like, I see you, and then do something that feels good for you, and you immediately break that cycle of thinking.
Yeah. I do something similar. I just when I recognize it, I go like, that's not important right now.
Yeah,
So it's like, okay, I know you're there. I'll come back to you when I need to.
if I come back to you, sometimes you
Yeah.
in and out, in and out, in and
Well, I come to, well, at least it works for me, but usually the logic behind is that the mind doesn't like unsolved puzzles and other things, or things taken out of it and nothing put back in, or it's like if you lose something and it's going to try to find it. That's another one of the jokes of like how the universe works. It's like,
Well, you just nailed and hit upon a point that I really want to emphasize for people who may feel that they struggle with some type of addictive behavior. And it doesn't matter whether it's alcohol and drugs or overworking or sleeping or exercise, whatever. You just said your mind is not like having something taken away from it. And it's so true,
yes,
guys. And this
yes,
is why I am not a big proponent of abstinence from the thing that maybe you find yourself
me
leaning heavily.
too, me too.
Instead,
Yeah,
incorporate a new thing. And over time, if that
yeah,
thing feels good, you're going to naturally start to lean more into the thing that feels a little bit more supportive for you rather than the thing that you find that you no longer serves you, right? And that's why you
right.
don't judge yourself or condemn yourself for picking up the bottle of wine or whatever it is. It doesn't matter, picking up your phone. Instead, you're like, oh, what else can I do? And you learn. And I love that you said that, Yanko, because people fundamentally do not understand that. And once you get that, you realize don't take away, just add, because by adding, eventually things fall off.
Or replace. That worked
Yes,
for me when I tried to stop drinking coffee in the morning. I replaced it with tea. Yeah,
I'm drinking
because
lemon water.
you're in your habit of like having your cup in, like almost like this is your how you get off bed, what you're prepping, and all of a sudden you come to the point it's like, oh, but I need that, and that kind of gives you the feeling like you still have the cup, you're still
Yep.
going through the whole process, but you're replacing it with something else.
That's why when I
So,
quit smoking cigarettes, I literally just I had a straw and not on my straw. I'm in the straw
oh
because
man.
Yeah, it's just
when I know, but I was gonna say, come back to like right off when I was quitting smoking, but continue on.
no, go ahead, tell me, how is quitting smoking for you?
I don't know. It was interesting experience. I decided to quit smoking one night, and I decided to smoke everything that I had in the house because I had cigars, I had like a
Oh my
tobacco, I had
god,
like a pipe, all kinds of
that
stuff.
has to be horrible for your lungs.
T- Man, I was smoking like 3 packs a day, and
Bon, you have a beautiful day too. Wait, you smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day?
I did, yes.
That's like
You
shit.
know,
How did you ever
it
get
was just like my fingers were yellow, in the side of the mouth where I kept the cigarette was turning yellow from the nicotine I was smoking so bad.
wow, that's
I know,
wild.
I
Yeah.
know.
Well, and then so you
And
smoked it all?
I smoked it all. And then I thought by pure force, like usually people do, like, I'm gonna wrestle with this and I'm gonna resist smoking. And guess what? 2 days later or a day later, I'm walking in the one side of the cross, the street, and there's somebody on the other side smoking. I can sense it. And my body goes just like, like the whole thing is creaking.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
I,
take
I
nothing
get
away
I
from the go
I
ahead.
I get to a point where I had an experience after I quit smoking when we went to a bar, and I did some secondhand smoking because people were smoking in that bar. And then when I went to sleep that night, I dreamed because the body knew that. And in my dream, I was pissed off on myself because I know how it was for me to smoke. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? Why are you smoking again?
That is so funny. Oh my
Uh,
god. Well, as we wrap up this show, for no particular reason when we never know what's gonna come up or come down or anything, um, me to download to 10 need to get over that hump. I don't get that. Do you?
no, maybe talking about like smoking down
Well,
from
this
like
is
10
what I would
cigarettes
just
or
say. Add. Every time you go to smoke a cigarette, before you smoke the
down
cigarette,
to, yeah,
don't not just do something
yeah.
different. And for the listening audience, oh, got you. Um, For the listening audience, if you take nothing away from the show, I encourage you to consider this. Your brain does not like things being taken away. It just doesn't.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
instead, add. Just add something. So if you want to quit overthinking, add going for a walk or breath work. If you want to quit drinking, add painting before you have a drink or whatever suits your fancy. And over time, the thing that you've added can replace it. So just be mindful of what it is you decide to add into your life.
And that works. Test it out. Like I didn't know about that in previous years. I somehow I did it without like nobody telling me. I was just testing different things, and even when I was on a diet and I wanted to cut bread out of the diet, I just didn't drop white bread right off the bat. I replaced it with rye bread. Less carbs in it. You're still eating, but you're not getting the same quantity and everything else. So,
Yep,
yeah.
100%. So, all right, people, until next time, thank you all for participating, for sending us love. Every time you show up, it's an energy exchange, and it's not lost upon Yanko and I that that is a gift that you give to us. I hope or trust that you took away something. And if you didn't, that's okay too, because this really is for no particular reason. So we will catch you next.
Yes. Thank you guys. We'll see you next Friday.